Millionaire discovers his maid protecting his special needs daughter and is left stunned. Stop crying, Elsa. Your father will be back soon, and he'll see what kind of little girl you really are. The angry voice, followed by a slamming door, echoed from the second floor, stopping Diana in her tracks. She stood at the back entrance of a luxurious mansion, her handbag still in hand, her heart uneasy. She couldn't mistake that sound. It wasn't just a child crying, it was a sob filled with despair. "Here we go again." A woman's voice came from behind. It was Maria, the longtime housekeeper, coming to greet Diana. "Is the lady of the house upset again?" Diana asked softly. Another bad day for Mrs. Rachel, Elsa's stepmother. Maria sighed, shaking her head. The poor girl got yelled at. Again. Maybe for something, maybe for nothing at all. And Mr. Jimmy? Still away on business, as always. Diana looked up the stairs toward the source of the sobbing. Each whimper felt like it clutched at her chest. "Listen, Diana," Maria said firmly. "This job isn't easy, especially if you get attached to the little one." "What's her name?" "Elsa. She's 7. She has Down syndrome. Her birth mother passed when she was still a baby." Diana tightened her grip on her bag. No one had told her that this job came with a child who needed love more than anything. "Are you okay?" Maria asked. "I'm fine," Diana replied, but her eyes remained fixed on the second floor. "I will be once I meet Elsa." She began to climb the stairs, one step at a time, following the fading sound of a little girl's tears. Somewhere in that vast house, a child was waiting for a gentle hand. In the hallway, a blonde, elegantly dressed woman was stepping out of the room, slamming the door behind her. "You're the new maid, aren't you?" Rachel adjusted her hair, trying to appear calm. "Good. I need to go out for a while. The girl is throwing a tantrum. When she stops, you can start your work. She'll be fine." "Fine?" She just tends to exaggerate. Rachel quickly went down the stairs, grabbed her handbag, and left the house. The sound of crying still echoed from the room. Diana knocked on the door. "Hello, sweetheart. May I come in?" The crying softened a little. "I'm not here to scold you, I promise." Diana gently opened the door. A brown-haired little girl was sitting on the floor, hugging her knees, her face soaked with tears, her eyes swollen and red. "Hello, my dear. What's your name?" The girl looked at her cautiously. "Elsa." "Elsa, what a beautiful name you have." "I'm Diana." "Why are you crying?" Elsa pointed to her stomach. "It hurts." "You're hungry, aren't you?" Elsa nodded. "When did you last eat?" "I haven't eaten anything." Diana glanced at the clock. 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Not even this morning? Rachel forgot. Diana froze. How could anyone forget to feed a child? "Come on, let's go find something tasty for you." Diana reached out her hand, waiting for Elsa to take it. At first, the little girl hesitated, but then she placed her tiny hand into Diana's palm. A warm, gentle feeling. Like a beginning. The two of them walked down to the kitchen, hand in hand, leaving behind a quiet room that had just been lit with a spark of hope. While preparing lunch, Diana noticed Elsa swinging her small legs on the stool, her eyes carefully observing everything. "How many slices of bread have I cut?" Diana held up the loaf. 2 slices. "Very good." Elsa's face lit up. It seemed she wasn't often praised. "Go ahead and eat." Elsa devoured the food as if she were starving. "Diana, good. You good. Elsa, special." "Rachel, bad." The words made Diana's heart ache. Rachel was wrong. You are a beautiful and smart little girl. Elsa stopped chewing, looking straight into Diana's eyes. In that moment, a bond of trust formed between them. "Diana, stay? I will be working here every day." "Good." After the meal, Elsa wanted to show her toys. The room was large but messy. No one helped her tidy up. Elsa took out some picture books and began naming the colors. Blue, red, yellow. Excellent. Do you know any other colors? Pink, green, purple? Diana was very impressed. Elsa was clearly much smarter than the adults around her realized. The two were playing when they heard the sound of the door opening. Rachel had returned home. Elsa immediately tensed up. Footsteps climbed the stairs. Rachel appeared at the doorway, her expression shifting when she saw Diana and Elsa playing. "Elsa, did you eat?" Elsa nodded, her shoulders shrinking. "Who gave you permission to eat?" Elsa pointed at Diana without saying a word. "I saw she was hungry, so I prepared a little food," Diana spoke up. "Next time ask me first. Elsa has a set eating schedule. If she eats early, she won't eat dinner." Rachel walked closer to Elsa with a strained smile. "Isn't that right, sweetheart? You have to wait for dinner." Elsa looked at Diana and then at Rachel, confused. "Now sit still so Diana can do her work, all right?" Elsa nodded, but when Rachel left the room, she came closer to Diana and whispered, Bad. She hurts." Diana felt a hollow in her stomach. The way Elsa said it, the fear in her eyes. "How does she hurt you?" But Elsa had already heard Rachel coming back and pretended to play. Rachel entered the room again. "Elsa, put all those toys away. Such a mess." Elsa began tidying up quickly, terrified. "Hurry up. Your father doesn't like disorder." Elsa fumbled, rushing, and dropped a few blocks. "See? So clumsy." I'm sorry. I'm so useless." Rachel grabbed Elsa's arm with more force than necessary, leaving the child's skin red. "Don't be so slow." Elsa began to whimper softly. "And stop crying too. Your father doesn't like girls who cry." Diana had to struggle not to intervene. She knew that if she did, she would be dismissed immediately, and Elsa would be left alone with Rachel. "All done. Now go play by yourself and let Diana work." When Rachel left, Elsa held out her arm to show Diana. A red mark was clearly visible. "It hurts." "Come here, sweetheart." Diana gently hugged Elsa. "Elsa, if someone hurts you, can you tell me about it?" "Yes, but Rachel says I can't." "Why not?" "She said if I tell, Daddy will give me away to someone else." Diana trembled with anger. How could anyone threaten a child like that? "Elsa, listen to me. Your father will never give you away. He loves you." "Does he really love me?" The question pierced Diana's heart. Elsa wasn't even sure if her own father loved her. "Of course he does. You are his daughter." Elsa thought for a moment, then took out paper and colored pencils. She drew two figures, one tall with blonde hair and one small sitting on the ground crying. "This is you?" Diana pointed to the smaller figure. Elsa nodded. "And this is Rachel?" Elsa nodded again. "She does that every time your father isn't home?" "Yes." Diana kept the drawing. She knew one day she might need this evidence. When she left the house at the end of the day, she overheard Rachel on the phone. "Hello, darling, everything's fine. Elsa ate well, played happily. She's so beautiful." Nothing but lies. Elsa had spent the entire day in fear and hunger. "The new maid is wonderful. Elsa really likes her." Rachel paused. "Of course. I'll take care of our little princess very well. Kisses." Diana walked away from the house with a heavy heart. She knew Elsa was in danger, and she was the only one who realized it. The next morning, Diana arrived and found Elsa sitting on the stairs, still in her pajamas. "My dear, why haven't you changed clothes yet?" "Rachel didn't help me." "Where is she?" "On the phone." Diana heard Rachel's fake, sweet voice drifting from the living room. "Jimmy, Elsa slept so well. She's already had breakfast, and now she's playing. She's so adorable." Diana knew very well the girl hadn't eaten anything. Elsa had been hungry for a long time. "Yes, darling, don't worry about a thing. Everything here is under control." Rachel hung up and shouted, "Elsa, come down here right now." Elsa ran down, tripping over the hem of her long nightgown. "Why haven't you changed clothes yet? It's already time." "But you didn't wake me up." "I'm not your nanny. You need to learn to do everything by yourself." Elsa lowered her head. "Go get dressed, quickly." The girl trudged upstairs. Diana followed. "Do you need my help?" "Yes." Diana helped Elsa pick out clothes and get dressed. Then, because she was hungry, they went down to the kitchen together. "How about some scrambled eggs?" "I like that." While cooking, Diana noticed Rachel outside in the garden, again on the phone, giggling. "Mother, I can't stand it anymore. Every time I see her, I'm reminded of what he did, fathering a child with another woman." Diana listened. "It's not just that, Mother. When I lost my baby, she lived, taking the place that should have belonged to my son." Elsa tugged at Diana's shirt. "Are the eggs ready?" "Almost done, sweetheart." Rachel continued. "I know it's not her fault, but I can't bear it. And with the new maid, the girl is getting smarter, and Jimmy will notice I'm not taking good care of her. Maybe I should send her to a special school, a boarding school. That way, Jimmy and I can have a real family." Diana shuddered. Rachel wanted to get rid of Elsa. "Of course, I won't say that to Jimmy now, but if I can prove she's difficult to raise." The call ended. Rachel walked into the kitchen and saw Elsa eating. "Not waiting until lunch?" She was hungry. "Elsa, you know you have mealtimes. If you eat now, you won't want to eat later." "But I was hungry." Hunger is not an excuse to disobey. Rachel moved closer to Elsa. "Finish eating quickly and go to your room. I need to talk to Diana." Elsa ate hurriedly and left the room. Rachel waited until the girl was out of sight before speaking. "Listen, Diana, you seem like a good person, but I need to make one thing clear. Elsa is a special child. She needs discipline and boundaries. If you spoil her, you'll harm her development. I know you want to help, but the ones who decide what's best for Elsa are me and Jimmy. You are here to clean the house, not to educate her. Do you understand?" "I understand." "Good. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to take care of my daughter." The car door shut with a firm thud as Jimmy stepped into the house. He was exhausted after nearly 2 weeks of non-stop travel, his head still filled with meetings, contracts, and unanswered emails. A soft voice drifted from the kitchen, stopping him mid-step. "You are my sunshine, my only sunshine." A child's voice, clear, gentle. It was Elsa. Jimmy slowly followed the sound. Through the crack of the kitchen door, he saw something that made him freeze. Elsa sitting on a stool, munching on a peanut butter sandwich, singing softly. Diana sat across from her, smiling, tapping along to the rhythm. Rachel stood nearby, holding her phone, frowning. When Elsa spotted her father, she leapt off the stool and ran to him. "Daddy!" Jimmy hugged her, stunned into silence. You're singing?" Elsa nodded. "Diana taught me." Diana stood up, offering a modest smile. "She has a good ear for melody. I just sang along." Jimmy glanced at Rachel. "You said she didn't like music." Rachel shrugged. "Probably just mimicking." Elsa stepped back, eyes falling as the word mimicking hit her like a slap. Diana gently placed a hand on her back. "Her name is Elsa," she said softly, yet firmly. "And she deserves to be called by it." The words stopped Jimmy in his tracks. That night, Jimmy sat alone in his study. He pulled up footage from the house's security cameras, something he'd never cared to check before. He saw Elsa laughing as she colored with Diana. He saw hugs, comfort, attention. He remembered every time Rachel said Elsa was difficult, unteachable, unreachable. But now he saw the truth. The next morning, Jimmy sat at the breakfast table with Elsa, for the first time in months. She talked about colors, peanut butter, and her favorite song. Diana stood nearby, watching silently. After the meal, Jimmy asked to speak with her privately. "What did you do to help her change?" Diana hesitated, then answered, "I didn't do anything special. I just stayed, and I really saw her." Jimmy stared at her for a long time, and for the first time in years he felt ashamed because he hadn't noticed his daughter slowly fading away right there in his own home. It was a Tuesday morning, and something about the house felt off. As Diana and Maria prepared lunch, the older woman leaned in and whispered, Mrs. Rachel was up early, pacing around the rooms like she was searching for something. Diana frowned. Her gut told her something wasn't right, and she was right. That afternoon, just as Jimmy arrived home, Rachel stepped out of his office, holding a luxury wristwatch in her hand. "Did you know this was found in the maid's drawer?" she asked calmly, but her eyes were cold. Jimmy froze. "That watch. It was a gift from a client." "Exactly, and somehow it ended up in Diana's room." Diana, hearing everything, walked in. Her voice was steady. "I didn't take anything," she said, looking Jimmy straight in the eyes. Rachel gave a mocking smile. "Oh? Then explain how it got there." "Dis-moi." Before Diana could respond, Rachel called out, "Elsa, come downstairs." The little girl slowly descended the stairs, holding the railing tight, her expression confused and scared. "Tell the truth," Rachel said, her voice smooth. "Did you see Diana with this watch?" Elsa looked at the watch, then at Diana. Her eyes shimmered, torn. Rachel stepped closer, whispering near Elsa's ear, only loud enough for the child to hear. "If you don't say yes, she'll disappear forever." Elsa trembled, then gave the tiniest nod. "Yes." Diana's heart shattered, but she didn't blame Elsa. Her eyes said everything. She was scared. Jimmy stood in silence. He looked at Diana, the woman who had changed his daughter, and then at the watch in Rachel's hand. Diana spoke gently. "If you need me to leave so Elsa can stay safe, I'll go." Rachel's lips curled in quiet triumph. Before walking out, Diana knelt down and brushed Elsa's hair back. "It's okay, sweetheart," she whispered. "I believe you, and I'll still be close, even if you can't see me." Elsa began to cry, but said nothing. The door closed behind Diana. But inside that house, for the first time, a little girl began to understand what it meant to truly lose someone. Since the day Diana left, the house felt different. Elsa no longer sang. She didn't smile. She didn't talk about colors or draw pictures in the mornings. She was silent, like a light inside her had been switched off. Jimmy noticed, very clearly. He tried to fill the gap, spending more time with his daughter, but every attempt fell flat. Elsa only nodded, shook her head, and kept her distance. Each night, Jimmy would knock on Elsa's door. "Can I come in?" Elsa would shake her head and turn to the wall, hugging the teddy bear Diana had given her. Once he heard her whisper softly in the dark, "Diana, come back." That whisper shattered him more than any silence could. One morning he found a crumpled piece of paper in the trash. A drawing. It was of 3 figures, one tall, one small, and a woman in the middle holding both hands. But the woman's face had been scribbled out in black crayon, as if Elsa couldn't bear to see her, or had tried to forget her, and failed. One afternoon, he took Elsa to the park. She sat on a bench, hugging the teddy bear Diana had given her. "You miss her, don't you?" Jimmy asked. Elsa didn't reply. She just squeezed the bear tighter. "Is there something you haven't told me?" he asked gently. A single tear rolled down Elsa's cheek. Jimmy's chest tightened. "You were forced to lie, weren't you?" Elsa sniffled. "Stepmom said, if I didn't say it, Diana would disappear forever." The words hit Jimmy like a blow to the chest. He had failed. He didn't trust the woman who had changed his daughter's life. He trusted the one who had been hurting her all along. That night, Jimmy came home. Rachel was lounging on the sofa, flipping through a magazine. "You lied," he said, voice calm but sharp. "You made Elsa say something that wasn't true." Rachel froze, then scoffed. "She's just a kid. Who believes her?" "I do," Jimmy replied, stepping closer. "And I don't need any more proof." He pointed to the door. "Get out, tonight." Rachel screamed, threatened lawsuits, demanded compensation. But Jimmy didn't flinch. He simply called security and had her escorted off the property. As the gates closed, Elsa stood by the window, her eyes still glistening. "Daddy, I'm sorry." Jimmy picked her up. "No, sweetheart. I'm the one who should be sorry." The next morning, Jimmy drove to a small house on the other side of town, where Diana was temporarily staying. She opened the door, surprised to see him. "Jimmy?" He nodded, looking a little unsure. "I need you to come back, not to clean, to be with Elsa. She needs you, and I do too." Diana looked at him for a long moment. "Are you sure?" Jimmy nodded. "This time, I see everything clearly." A faint smile appeared on her lips. "Then, I'll come home." Just 1 week after Rachel was kicked out, Jimmy received a letter from a law firm. An official complaint filed by Rachel. She was seeking custody of Elsa, claiming she had been the child's legal stepmother for 2 years. The letter accused Jimmy and Diana of having an inappropriate relationship that might emotionally destabilize the child. Jimmy crumpled the letter in fury. "She'll stoop to anything." Diana walked into the room, noticing his tense expression. "What happened?" Jimmy hesitated, then handed her the letter. Diana skimmed it quickly, then let out a soft breath. "She wants Elsa." "She wants control," Jimmy corrected. "It's not about love. It never was." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Diana spoke softly. "If this goes to court, I'll be seen as nothing. I'm not her legal guardian." Jimmy nodded, clearly considering something very serious. The next morning, he took Diana and Elsa to a quiet park. Elsa ran around with her teddy bear, while Jimmy led Diana to a bench. "I've been thinking all night," he began, "and I know there's only one way to protect Elsa, and keep you in her life." Diana tilted her head, puzzled. "Marry me," Jimmy said. "Marriage, not as a formality, but legal, so you can become Elsa's legal guardian too." Diana froze. "Are you sure?" Jimmy nodded. "At first, it's for Elsa, but I've been thinking about it since the day you came back." Diana smiled, tears glistening. "Funny. I've been thinking about it too." 3 weeks later, they held a quiet garden wedding. No extravagant dresses, no big crowd. Just Jimmy, Diana, and Elsa in a floral dress, holding a tiny bouquet, standing between them, gripping their hands tightly. And then Elsa said something that made everyone go still. "Now I have a real mom." Life after Jimmy and Diana's wedding wasn't grand, but it was filled with love. Diana was no longer the maid. She was Jimmy's wife, Elsa's mom, not just on paper, but in every small act, every day. Each morning, Diana rose early to make breakfast. Elsa sat at the table, carefully folding napkins and humming, "You Are My Sunshine." Jimmy took Elsa to school, always stopping the car when she shouted, "Look, a cat!" In the afternoons, they grocery shopped together. Elsa picked fruits, Diana made the list, Jimmy pushed the cart. They looked like an ordinary family, but to Elsa, it was extraordinary. One evening, Diana was helping Elsa sound out words. "B-A, banana!" Elsa yelled when she got it right. Everyone clapped, and Diana pulled her into a hug. "You're so smart," she laughed. Elsa looked up at her, quiet for a few seconds, then whispered, "Mom?" Diana froze. Jimmy looked up, stunned. "What? Did you just call her?" he asked. Elsa bit her lip. "Mom. Because I have a mom now." Diana said nothing. She just hugged Elsa tightly, hiding her tears in the child's soft hair. From that moment, Elsa changed more each day. She no longer avoided eye contact. She started conversations with her classmates. She spoke more clearly, focused better. One day, her teacher called Jimmy. "I don't know what magic your home has, but Elsa, she shines." Jimmy looked at Diana. "I know what that magic is." On a quiet Sunday afternoon, while Diana was hanging clothes in the yard, Elsa ran up and hugged her from behind. "Mom." "Yes, sweetheart?" "I'm the luckiest girl in the world." Diana turned, knelt down, and cupped Elsa's cheek. "No, my love," she smiled. "I'm the lucky one, because I have you." One Monday morning, as the family quietly ate breakfast, the doorbell rang. Maria answered it and returned with a worried expression. "It's Mrs. Rachel, and she brought a lawyer." Jimmy and Diana exchanged glances. Elsa froze, gripping Diana's hand. Rachel entered the house as if she had never been banished. Designer coat, confident smile. "I'm here to discuss visitation rights for Elsa," she said, pulling out a chair without waiting for an invitation. Jimmy stood. "There's nothing to discuss." Rachel's lawyer placed a folder on the table. "My client has the right to request visitation, particularly given her prior role in raising the child." Diana gently squeezed Elsa's hand and whispered, "It's okay. Mommy's here." Rachel scoffed. "What is she afraid of? I cared for her more than her own mother ever could." Elsa clenched her fists. Jimmy gritted his teeth, but it was Diana who calmly stood up. "Well then," she said, pulling out a small USB, "let's revisit some of that care you gave." She plugged it into a laptop. The room filled with a crystal-clear recording. "If you don't say it, she'll disappear forever." "Yes." "Good girl. Remember, don't tell anyone." Rachel's lawyer paled. Jimmy turned to her, voice cold. "You manipulated a child to frame someone, and now you expect us to pretend it never happened?" Rachel stood abruptly, voice rising. "She's my child." Elsa's voice cut through, soft but firm. "No, you're not my mom." Silence. "You made me scared, made me think I didn't deserve food, didn't deserve love. But now I know that's not true." Rachel took a step back. Jimmy wrapped his arms around Elsa. Diana stepped forward, her voice steady. "We won't let you hurt her again. And with this recording, neither will the court." 1 week later, the court's decision arrived. Rachel was permanently stripped of all visitation rights. When Diana told Elsa, the little girl wrapped her arms around her and whispered, "I'm not scared anymore." Diana held her tightly. "Because you were brave, sweetheart. So brave." 1 month after the final court decision, life for the little family settled into something steady, something beautiful. Elsa returned to school, this time at a smaller campus where she was loved and understood for exactly who she was. No more avoiding eye contact, no more hiding in classroom corners. Elsa began raising her hand. She helped a classmate pick up crayons. And for the first time in her life, she spoke in front of the entire class, with confidence. Her teacher sent a note home. "Elsa isn't just a student, she's a tiny miracle." Diana read it, tears silently falling down her cheeks. She also opened a small learning space at home, a quiet classroom for kids just like Elsa. A place where learning grew from love, not pressure. She named it the Resilient Garden. As for Jimmy, once too busy to notice his daughter's loneliness, he became the father she had always needed. He learned to braid Elsa's hair, learned to sit cross-legged on the floor, coloring beside her in total silence. And most importantly, he learned that loving your child isn't a duty, it's a journey, One afternoon, the three of them sat on the grass in their backyard. Jimmy told a funny story from his college days. Elsa laughed loudly. Diana lay beside him, head on his shoulder. Night fell like a soft velvet blanket over the rooftops. Elsa was fast asleep, hugging her teddy bear, a faint smile still resting on her lips. On the second-floor balcony, Jimmy and Diana sat side by side. Between them, 2 cups of tea steamed gently in the cool autumn air. "Thank you for today," Jimmy said softly. "For everything?" Diana smiled, her gaze drifting toward the city lights in the distance, twinkling like scattered stars. Jimmy turned toward her, eyes gentler than ever before. "I've always wanted to ask, why were you so kind to Elsa, even when you didn't have to be? You could have walked away?" Diana stayed silent for a moment. Her eyes lingered on the horizon, the silence stretching long. A weight settled in her chest, one she had carried for years. Then she drew in a breath, as if unlocking a door long sealed. "Because I lost someone I should have protected." Jimmy didn't speak. He just listened. "When I was 10, my parents died in a car crash," Diana said, voice trembling. "It was sudden, one night, no goodbyes." Jimmy clenched his hand but didn't interrupt. "I had a little brother. His name was Leo. He had Down syndrome. So sweet, so gentle. But I was just a kid, not old enough to care for anyone, and not strong enough to survive it all." She paused. Her eyes were red. "We ended up in foster care. Leo needed special care, but no one really understood him. Then one day, they transferred me to another home. We were separated. I didn't hear anything until months later, when I learned he died of pneumonia." Jimmy looked at her, his own eyes dimmed. "I felt like I abandoned him," Diana whispered. "I've always wondered what would have changed if I'd been older, smarter. Since then, I promised myself, if I ever saw someone like Leo again, I wouldn't walk away." She turned to Jimmy, tears falling freely now. "And then I met Elsa. The way she shrunk back, the fear in her eyes, how she stayed quiet instead of crying. It was like seeing Leo all over again. Maybe that's why I held Elsa's hand so tightly, because I couldn't hold Leo's when he needed me most." Jimmy said nothing. He just reached out and gently wiped a tear from her cheek. "You didn't just save Elsa," he murmured. "You saved me too." The night breeze brushed past. That little balcony became their world, a quiet space, free from pain, filled only with healing. "I used to think I was strong," Jimmy said, "but I was just surviving. You're the one who's truly strong, the one who chose love." Diana let out a soft laugh through her tears. She leaned her head on his shoulder, unafraid for the first time. "I'm not perfect," she whispered. "I don't want perfect," Jimmy replied. "I just want you here." They sat like that, silent under the warm porch light, tea still warm between them. Then, slowly, Jimmy leaned in and kissed her forehead, light as a sigh, soft as a sorry, warm as a promise. Diana looked up into his eyes, and then came the second kiss, a real one, unhurried, wordless, just 2 broken hearts finally beating in the same rhythm. Behind them, through the open window, the faint hum of "You Are My Sunshine" played softly on Elsa's little music box. Not a fairy tale ending, but a beginning deep enough to last forever.